Okay, the numbers are in for July real estate in Calgary, and we are in the middle of a market shift. I'm Ken from the Ken Rigel Group. The biggest thing that jumped out to us this month was the increase in inventory. We have been starving for inventory in this market for years. And for the first time in 2 years, we've actually broken 4,000 listings. And let's put this into perspective over the past few months. It was just back in April that we only had 2,700 homes on the market. Today, over 4,100. That's a pretty big jump in just a few months. Now, some people are thinking that the sky is falling. It definitely isn't, but we have felt a shift in the market since probably the beginning of June. Things have definitely slowed down as far as showings go on our listings, the amount of buyer activity on other listings, the amount of homes our buyers are actually getting out there and being able to see now instead of having to buy the first home that they see. There is a definite shift in the market, but it's still favoring sellers. We only have a month and a half of inventory on the market. So that means that if every home in the city was to sell, or no other home was to be listed in the city, it would take a month and a half to sell everything that was left over. So what's happening in the future? What's going to happen to this market? Well, like anything, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. But there are a few factors that you need to consider. Number one, if you watch the other major markets in the country, like Toronto. Toronto has the most inventory on the market they've had since 2008, and their prices are starting to drop. They had an average price of 1.3 at one point. It's closer to $1 million today. Watch that average price in Toronto, because if it drops below $1 million and that spread between Calgary and Toronto starts to narrow, all the people from Ontario that move to Calgary may go, you know what? It's not so cheap to live out here. We may want to go home. Could happen. Also, in 2025, we are going to hit the 5-year mark since COVID. Can you believe it? And during the COVID shutdowns, interest rates were hammered down to nearly nothing to keep the economy going. So a lot of people, there are a lot of mortgages coming due in 2025 that were taken out at like 0.9%, 1%. Those mortgages are going to be renewed in that 4.5%, 5%, maybe even higher range now that interest rates are where they're at. We could see a real push of inventory in the new year because people may not be able to afford their payments anymore. Now, the government may step in and they're going to stretch out amortizations, and that may all be all for naught. But it is something to consider and to look out for. So if you're a seller and you are considering selling, now might be the time. The fall might be the time to take advantage of the pricing in Calgary, which is at an all-time high right now, and it's still favoring you, the seller, this market. However, if the trend continues, we will be in a balanced market by the end of the year. You can check out all the details in our Street View of Calgary real estate by clicking the link below.